We would now like to move on to our first knowledge session, where we invite Mr. Abhishek Lodha, Managing Director of Lodha Group, to speak on our convention theme, that is, Be the Change. Please welcome him with a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Abhishek Lodha, we are honored to have you here. Over to you.
Good morning, everybody. It's a great privilege and a pleasure to be amongst the smartest real estate fraternity in the whole country. Thank you for inviting me. One can clearly see how much effort the organization has put in organizing this. It's not easy to put together such a large event. And I think it really speaks highly of our industry and the fraternity that you can pull off such a large event in such a time where, there are many other difficulties. Excellent job by all of you. And I thank the organizing committee for inviting me and again commend them for all the efforts that they've put in. I have had an opportunity to interact with some of you and our organization works with a large number of you. And I think the first thing I'd want to say is that the real estate broking community or channel partners or any other name that we use are really the arteries and the veins of the real estate industry. It's because of you that the real estate industry functions. It's because of you that this industry has been able to grow as much as it has. And I think not only the developers, but also the government have to take very immediate steps to recognize the great contribution that each one of you makes to the industry. To speak a little bit, today on Thursday, earlier this week, we had the Reserve Bank Governor cut his interest rates by about 0.5%. And as I was talking to a few of my friends before we started this session, I was asking them about how they felt about it and whether it would have an impact on business both in South Mumbai, where most of you are focused, but also outside South Mumbai. And the broad sense I picked up was that while it will certainly have an impact in the mid-income housing market, one was not very sure about how it will start affecting South Mumbai. I'd like to share my views about it. My own view is that the interest rates cuts and the message that the central bank governor gave is a very, very strong message. He said not only that he is cutting rates, but as long as inflation remains under control, he is going to continue cutting rates. And as you know, in South Mumbai, a large number of the buyers are either business owners or they are senior professionals in businesses. And the interest rate cycle is going to have a very, very strong and positive effect on businesses across the country. And you will start seeing that while the EMIs don't matter to the South Mumbai buyer, you will start seeing that his confidence is going to start turning. Just in 2 days, and this is literally 2 days since the announcement has been made, we have started seeing in our business that the amount of people who were warm have now started to say we want to close the deal. Those who were hot have already started closing their deals. And in general, the level of interest and inquiry has changed. And that's not because that 0.5% of cut makes a difference, but the direction makes a difference. Where today the government, which is working very hard, our Prime Minister, who's doing so much to not only make things better in India, but also going out internationally and telling the world what India is about and what the potential of India is. And now the Reserve Bank has started playing in the same direction. And I can tell you that at least we as a business have felt that the next 6 to 9 months, you will start seeing a gradual but significant shift in buyer confidence. And I'm sure that each one of you will find that your businesses will start doing stronger and better going forward. And I'm sure all of us will get to work with each other a lot more. On that positive note, I wanted to sort of take a little bit and I'm sure you know all of this, but I thought I want to just share some thoughts with you about housing. How important housing is to our nation and to our economic development. Can one of you tell me what is the percentage of home ownership that you have in urban India? I'm not talking about only South Mumbai, but across the urban cities, Mumbai, Bangalore, Delhi, etc. What is the percentage of home ownership? How many percentage of families actually own the home that they live in? Yes, you will be surprised to know that number is about 30% only, just under 30%. Whereas China is at 80%, Singapore is in the mid-50s, the US and the UK are around 65%. What that tells you is that there is such a significant amount of housing that still needs to get delivered. Because people are eventually, India is a home-loving society, every family who can afford to likes to own their own home. And in that context, there is a huge amount of way to go for housing to be created, to be sold. So while we may have temporary slowdowns or some part of the market may be oversupplied, the medium-term trend is there is going to be a continuous undersupply, and hence, consequently, there will always be demand for good quality housing. The fact of the matter is not that people don't want housing. What people, in our opinion, don't want is risk. In India, is one of the unique markets in the world where people actually pay as construction happens. In most of the other parts of the world, especially the developed world, people will pay about 20% to book their home, what is called a deposit, and the balance is all paid on completion, which is now the famous 20-80 scheme in India. But the fact of the matter is that globally, that is the trend where the buyer is not taking equity risk. Even the 20% deposit is protected, and then the person pays when the home is complete, when there is no risk. And that is actually what the buyer in India is today trying to do. He's trying to say is that I am wanting to buy a home. That's why I asked few of my friends, are there many ready homes which are empty and available? And the answer was no, there are no ready homes which are available. So that really says is that people want housing, but they don't want to take on the risk of a project being built or not being built, stuck in the middle, etc. So really, what we as a broking community, we as a real estate development community need to do is to be fully informed and pass on credible information. Not that when somebody offers us a slightly higher incentive, we will pitch that product even when we know that there is likely to be a problem or the builder developer doesn't have all the sort of maybe approvals, maybe the technical engineering skill set, maybe the financing in place. I think today there are buyers who are ultimately looking for assurance. Today the way they get assurance is that they are looking to buy only from 7 or 9 or 10 developers in Mumbai. I can count them on my fingers, developers who I would buy under construction, and I think most of you would agree who those 10 names are. And equally they are looking for their knowledge partners, which you all are the knowledge partners, to provide them the right and full information. But if we on a consistent basis provide the right and full information and avoid running down projects just because we want to try to push a buyer into one project and not run down the other projects, we will overall see that the market will start doing better because then the buyer starts receiving less and less negative news. We give them true news, which is a full picture. Partly what is good and what is not so good is also revealed to them. I think that is what will lead to a return of confidence. And once that return of confidence happens, which is really in all of our interests, then the volumes will come back. Because I think each one of us is interested in volumes, and what the buyer is interested in is in making sure that he does not take on risk. So if we can bridge that gap between him not taking risk and us wanting the volumes that we are desiring, that comes through quality. If you know that the partners, the developers that you're partnering with or the properties that you're trying to pitch, if you put in the effort to make sure that the quality is right, if you make sure that people are not going to be let down in that process, I think then the confidence, the amount of money that is available in Mumbai or across this country is immense. The interest in buying property in South Mumbai is immense. And I think it's a little bit of effort from our side to cultivate some positive news. This fact about only 30% home ownership, or the fact that GDP contribution of real estate in India is only 4%, while it is 13% in China. So if India is ever going to become a meaningfully large economy, then real estate contribution to the economy has to grow much, much larger, because that is what drove China's growth, that is what drove the US growth, that is what is driving the UK's growth today. So ultimately, housing has to be a meaningful contributor in a big way to the development of the economy. And if these positive facts, these real facts, are put before the buyers on an ongoing basis, Mr. X says it, Mr. Y says it, and Mr. Z says it, then clearly, like the media today, by repeating the same set of stories, 1 lakh homes, I really want to know where the 1 lakh empty homes are. If someone can show me 2,000 empty homes, I'd be very happy. No other industry says raw material is inventory. If I'm producing a shoe, nobody tells me that how much leather is lying in my factory is my raw material, is my inventory. The inventory is ultimately how many finished shoes are ready and are not sold. And if that is the fact, how many finished flats are ready and not sold, I think our industry probably has 1% or 2% inventory actually available in the system. And these facts, the low home ownership, low inventory of ready-use flats, of ready-to-use flats, low contribution to GDP, an economy where the interest rates are going to move lower, and consequently the price of physical assets is going to go up. It always happens. As real estate, as interest rates go lower, people don't get the same sort of returns in fixed deposits or other such instruments, and they start putting it into physical assets because the physical assets tend to give higher returns. And it becomes almost a self-fulfilling prophecy where you get the higher returns because more people are interested in buying it. So I think all these positive facts, if we put before the buyers, I think marketing, people say that Lodha markets well. We believe that we have good product. We do a lot of effort into our product and we market it well. And that's why people buy. You can't market well if you don't have the right set of, real product. And I think that's the same thing with you. You are selling real estate. In the last 30 years, there is no asset class which has given better returns, which has been more stable. You don't come home in the night and say, "Arey yaar, aaj 15% उड़ गया मेरा." कभी होता ही नहीं है. You, ongoing basis, you get steady returns. Sometimes they are slower, sometimes they are faster. It's long-term safety. It gives you the ability to enjoy the asset. It gives you potential lease rental income or rental income. So it has all potential positives as long as there is no risk. The real challenge of the industry, in my opinion, is risk. If you can convince the buyer or guide them towards projects where there is no risk, if 5 years from today there is no buyer in Bombay who says कि उस property में मैंने पैसा डाला था और अभी मुझे मालूम नहीं कब मिलेगा, then you see how the sentiment changes, and that effort we have to start putting in now. One additional point I wanted to make, sometimes some senior sort of politicians or media people talk about reduction in real estate prices. Now, for all of us in this room, and I would say anybody who is from the middle class, upper middle class, or even the highest echelons of society, 50 to 70% of our personal wealth is in property. If, for example, property prices were to go down by 20%, what do you think will happen to the Indian economy? It is because of the kind of wealth creation that real estate has done in the last 10, 15 years that we have so much consumption in the economy, because every family knows, I bought a home for 50 lakhs, today it is worth 1 crore, my net worth has doubled. If suddenly real estate prices were to come down, what would happen to the economy? Consumption will crash. So there is no way that a business-oriented government like the current central government, a government which wants the economy to progress ahead, a business which wants Indians to feel better about themselves, can ever have a situation where real estate prices will go down across the board. You will have aberrations, you will have markets where there is a lot of oversupply and prices may go down for some time. But overall, across the country, wherever there is job creation, you are going to see that prices are going to move upwards on a slow basis, but definitely move upwards. Having said all of this, I again wanted to thank each one of you for being here. It's a working day. You all are missing many channel partner meets. One of theirs is ours, but that's not the point. Thank you all for being here. It's a great privilege and pleasure, like I said at the start, to see all of you together, to see the support that the national associations and other associations have given to the South Mumbai Association. This spirit of togetherness, this spirit of camaraderie is very, very important. And I am sure that working amongst yourselves and working with developers who care for you, who think about you, who value you, I am sure that together we can make sure that in 12 months' time when you have your next convention, there is a much more upbeat mood, and we are all talking about how we are going to grow our offices, how we are going to recruit more people, how we are going to make sure that we have our presence online, how we deal with the housing.coms, but we are talking about growth, aspiration, and moving forward. Thank you and best of luck for the next year. Thank you.
Requesting Mr. Sorin Shah to please present a token of appreciation to Mr. Lodha. Once again, can we have a huge round of applause for him, please? Thank you, sir.